Hello, everyone. Welcome to another day of learning. Today is day 26, but the second time we're going to handle the, I can call it the integration of the FastAPI frontend to the FastAPI backend to the Next.js frontend. We've done a lot so far. We've done a lot of backend stuff. We've done a lot of DevOps. That was the core actually. And now we're doing the integration. Earlier on, I forgot that some people may not know what Next.js is all about, but this is set up in such a way that you can integrate the backend with any front-end framework you want. And of course, if you need a particular kind of, can I say, uh, front-end framework, and maybe you do not know what Next.js is, feel free to stop. Don't be under pressure. Stop watching the series. Go ahead and learn Next.js, but I would prefer that you learn JavaScript, TypeScript, React, the next. Then later you can come back and continue watching the series. Okay? Yeah, you won't lose any time. You won't lose anything. You'll instead gain a lot. Particularly, I'm not a master front end, but I try to do what I can. And of course, if I'm not able to do anything, I'll always ask for help, okay, from you or from the internet. So yesterday we stopped at this point where I was able to implement flight searches, okay. So today the goal would be to implement validation of prices. So when you select a flight, it is important that the flight someone has selected is the correct price. So I'll go ahead to implement that. When you click this button, it goes to another page where actual flight details are displayed. So let me get on that. To do that, I need to come to the code. I think this was the HTML we wrote. Okay, I mean the JSX and React code we wrote. And there are things I want to maybe put in one component, because later on when I was trying to modify something, I seen this flight offer type. I imported it from components flight offer card. Okay, which I think may not be, is not something ideal for me to do. So I want to pick all these types, okay, and remove all of them from here. So I'll select everything up to up, okay, and then go into in another directory. So in source, I'll probably call it types, maybe for now. Then create a file called flight underscore offer .tsx, and then paste. And quickly just to explain it. So let me close this, close this, close this other one, close this other one, and then I'm going to get into it in a moment. So here to fix the error, I have to say from import something. Wow, I mean I'm mistaking it for Python. Sometimes the difference between importing in Python and JavaScript confuses me. But I'm here. So I'm going to say import something from, is it at, can I say types? Yes, slash types slash flight offer. Okay, so this is referring to this directory here. Where is it? Where is it? This one here, types, then flight offer. So from here, I want to simply import the flight offer. Okay, that's the first one. Then also using this segment is required. I'll say comma, import the segment. So that is it. What else is missing? We need to go to this other file, okay, and fix. Flight offer is now coming from types slash flight offer, okay, like that. All right, so maybe I'll just come and explain a bit. Okay, so you see this card this card you're seeing called flight offer card is this in-video card here. Okay, each of these cards are called flight offer cards, which is this React component. Okay, and a flight, okay, a single flight is of type flight offer. So what is flight offer? If we go to this file flight offer.tsx, and again, this code is going to be shared. Okay, if you look at the link in the description, there is a link to a repository. Okay, I'll make sure I push it to the repo so that you guys can access it. Okay, so let's look at flight offer, what it has. It has a type, which is a string, an optional string. It has an ID. It has a source, which is a string. The instant ticketing required, non-homogeneous, which is a boolean, one-way boolean, upsell offer, last ticketing. These are dates and date times, but as strings, number of bookable seats, and which is a type of number, itineraries, which is a list of itineraries, price, which is a price type, pricing options, which is any, validating airline code, which is a list of strings, traveler pricings, which is a list of things that you are not sure of. Okay, that's why I've put any. Okay, even pricing options I've put any because I'm not sure of the actual type, but I'll fix that. But that's to show you something like itineraries is a list of itinerary. Okay, so this itinerary is up here. Let me show you this one here. Okay, an itinerary is simply made of the duration and a list of segments. Okay, what is a segment? A segment is also defined up here. Okay, a segment has an ID, which is a string. It has the departure time, it has the arrival, it has the carrier code, it has the number, the aircraft, operating, duration, number of stops, and blacklisted. Okay, some flights can be blacklisted. So what happens is this. Okay, I think this departure having airport info and arrival having airport info. Okay, airport info for departure and arrival are also types. Okay, if you come here, you see that airport info is made of an IATA code, which is the city code. Okay, terminal and the at. Okay, so that's simply. Then maybe here you see that the price is of type price. When you come to this type price, which defines that price, you see that there's a currency, total, base. These are all strings. Okay, then fees, which is an array, okay, made of an amount and a type, but both are strings. Then the grand total and additional services, which is also an array having an amount and strings. So that's what we did in the previous video in day 25, and I just wanted to highlight the things so that when you see the code, you're not confused. So I'll just commit that to version control, so git status, okay. So I'll clear the screen. So I'll add that the git commit -m. Then I'll say integrate flight search with the back API. Okay, there's a rough format that failed, so I'll simply stage it again and commit because rough fixes them. Okay, so I can now clear and now continue to the next thing. Okay, now to do the integration, I need to show you one of the endpoints are responsible for that, maybe in Postman. Okay, so you see that in Postman here, if I do a search, says invalid request parameters, so I need to fix my request parameters. I think the departure date is wrong, so I'll say 9th. Okay, let me see if I say 10th. Then send the request. Taking longer than usual. All right, and there we are. I have what? A number of flight offers. Okay, so maybe I can copy one if necessary. Or no need. Okay, so after we have searched for flight, okay, and someone selects a flight, we need to verify, okay, we need to verify that this flight is price is actually correct. Okay, that's the next step when you're using Amadeus. So I'll come to collections, and I'll go to flight price confirmation. Okay, this is what we did last time. So in flight price confirmation, it takes in a flight offer, okay, in the body, like you see, okay. And we've looked at the type of a flight offer, even on the front end, okay. It's made up of some types, okay, and a number of itineraries, okay. And then this price, let me do this so that you see what it's made up of, okay. So this is what a flight offer has, okay. Number of information, the itineraries, which is made up of a number of segments, the price, pricing options, validating airline codes, traveler pricings, the total price, etc., fare type, etc. Okay, that's a number of things. So I can remove this or simply comment it out. Okay, then paste one which we just copied. Okay, and if you see it's the same structure. Okay, it doesn't change. Okay, itineraries, price, pricing options, validating airlines, traveler pricings. Okay, and remove that comma. Then we can hit send, and there it passed. Okay, so this is something we need to do. Okay, the price was confirmed, and actually if I do this, if I stretch up here, you still have a response. Okay, a key called data, and the type this time is different. The type is not flight offer. Okay, if you come here and scroll and you see this type is flight offer. So to confirm a price, you send a flight. You have to send data whose type is flight offer. But when you, after the confirmation has been done, the type changes to flight offers pricing. Okay, then you see and then you get an array of flight offers. Okay, you have your flight offers, things like booking requirements that we can show if we want. Okay, but for the MVP, I may not do that. Then we have another object called result having data. Okay, so let me close this. So what we are going to be interested in is this array here, okay, of flight offers. And this offer, you see that it is very similar to what we had earlier. Okay, very, very similar. Because you see, we have itineraries, we have price, we have pricing options, we have validating airline codes, we have traveler pricings. Ideally, the same thing. Okay, so it's important to know the structure. Okay, even me, I'm not like I'm not a travel agent, but I've tried to read. The more I do this, the more I understand. Because as a software engineer, generally if for example you wanted to create a system for a laboratory, you need to understand how the laboratory works. So even me who's creating a flight booking engine, I need to know how flights and flight booking works. That's the task always we have. If you're going to work on a software for a rocket, you need to understand how rockets work. Okay. If you're going to work on a software for maybe footballers, you need to know how football is played. So just to show you this, if I come here to result, okay, you see result, we have the flight offer, okay, and it's actually the same, okay, the same structure. So this is the backend, okay. I brought you here so that you understand what the API is giving us, okay, and we did this, of course, in the past. Now, what I need to do is that when you click this button, okay, this select flight, it redirects us to another page, okay. On that page, so as we click this on that page, when we select flight, we shall first of all store the current flight, the selected flight in storage. Okay, understand this, guys. When we select a flight, we store that current flight in our state. Okay, when we go to that new page, okay, using that selected flight in the state, we pick it, okay, and use it to send a post request to this endpoint, okay, to confirm the price, and then we shall use the result to do that. Okay, so the first thing is, let us just try to redirect, okay, to navigate, I mean, from this page, okay, to the next page. And how is that going to happen? Okay, it's going to happen, let me show you. If you look at I think this flight offer card, okay, flight equals to flight. This card, if you look inside here, this card has a button, okay, I can just simply search for that button called select. I see this button called select. Okay. So we just simply need to have a function, okay, that does it for us. That when you select a card, so guys who are React gurus, be ready to correct me in case I do things wrongly. So I'll come here, okay, put this on the next line. This is a class name, indent it a little bit. Put this on the next line. Come here and say when you click on click, okay, on click, do something. Okay, so I'll do like that. This is how you do it in JavaScript. Then up here, I'm going to create a function called const on handle on. Let me just use what AI is suggesting on select flight. Okay, when you select a flight, we're going to run a function. Okay, so I'll come here down and call this function. Okay, I'll say select on. Is it called on select flight? Yes. So I'll just leave it there for now. Then now I can come and define here. Okay, so when you select the flight, what do we do? I want to persist this flight in storage, okay, local storage. And I think we did that. We interacted with the store here, okay. So I want to remove this, okay. This console.log, we don't need it anymore. Then I'm going to go to the store, okay. We defined a store, if you remember. Where is that store? Are you seeing the store? Here's the store. Flights.js, okay. So in the store, I'll put here one attribute called a selected flight. Okay, I'll say selected, or let's just call it current flight. Okay, the current flight we're dealing with in the system, or selected flight makes sense. Let me say selected flight. Okay, and by default it will be null because there's no selected flight. Okay, then I'll put a comma. Okay, that's for the selected flight. And after that, I'll also put a function that I'll use for selecting the flight, okay? And AI is suggesting the right thing. So I'll say select flight. Come on, this is the wrong spelling. Select flight, okay? Full colon. Then I'll call a function like this, an inline function, a one-liner, which you'll call a method called set, like that, okay? So set is this one here, up here, okay? That's how it works, okay? So this is how we define a function, okay, in using Zustand, this state management tool, okay. And you saw me learning it with you online the other day. So select flight is this function, okay. I think this is what they call anonymous functions, okay. And it's calling this set to set some data, okay. Which data we're going to set, okay. We shall need to have a flight here, okay. We shall find a flight here, okay. And that flight is going to set this one here, okay, this one. We'll set this selected flight. How do I do that? I put these brackets, okay, then I say selected flight full colon, okay. So this selected flight is this one here, which is null, okay, going to be changed to this argument called flight, okay, like that. Simple. I'll remove it and explain afresh, okay. I'm creating a function called select flight, okay, like this. I put a full colon, create an anonymous function, comma, but this anonymous function is going to call this set like that, okay. But then this function is going to take an argument, which will be a flight that we want to set. Sorry, I have to type it inside, flight like that. And then this set has to update this selected flight. So to do that, I simply put these curly brackets like that. Then say, I can copy this and paste and say, change this selected flight to this flight. That's how I understand it, okay? And if you take it step by step like this, it's actually easy. It's not complex. So now the same way we use this, okay, here, we need to import use flights store, okay. So I'll come here and I say const use. No, I need to first of all import it, okay. So import use flights from store flights. This is correct, okay. Then I see how we did, what is it? This, okay, is what we need. Not this actually. There's a place where we set the states. Okay, so I'm going to do this, okay. So what we want is this one here, select flight, okay. So I'll come here and say const select flight will be equals to use flights, okay. Create a function, okay. Then this accepts the current state, okay. Then now we can return the state dot select flight, okay. We did this actually earlier, okay. Sometimes to save time, yes, you should simply just reuse things, okay. So this is wrong actually. It's supposed to be within the brackets, okay, like this. Then say state dot select flight, okay. So if you notice what I've been telling you, select flight is simply this function, okay. So using this syntax, where is it? Using this syntax, okay, you call use flights, which is our store. So use flights, this is the name of the store, okay. And then using it, we pick the state, and from the state we can pick state dot select flight. If I want update flights, I'll simply say state dot update flight. If I want flights, I can simply say state dot flights. If I want maybe selected flight, I can say state dot selected flight, okay, with the E and D like that. So I'll leave this like this, okay. And then I can come here and say on select flight, we can now call that function select flight, and we pass in the flight, the flight like that, okay, which is this one here, okay. Hi Jericho, where have you been? You've been hiding, Jericho. Thank you for remembering us, or remembering me rather, okay, and joining back. Yeah, this project is an interesting one, and I'm not going to stop until I show you the first day clients are going to use it. Like I told you, it's a project for my startup, and I want to build it relentlessly. Sometimes I get interruption from my work and stuff like that, but the goal is to finish it. Okay. So yeah, as long as it takes, it has to get done. Jericho says he's busy with work these days, a lot of data to handle. Wow, must be heavy and tough for you. I understand. It yeah. Sometimes we just fight. If you noticed, I think about either 2 or 1 week ago, I was not streaming at all because of, yeah, life got ahead of me and work was crazy. Trust me. Yeah, so it's nice to have you, Jericho, back on the stream. Yeah, so now right now I've begun the front end integration. This is the second, I mean, part two, day 26, but part two of the front end integration. Yeah, and now I'm trying to implement flight validation. Yeah, happy to have you on the stream, Jericho. So let me continue. So we select a flight and pass the flight. Okay. So guys who are good at React, let me ask you a question. Okay. I am very confident about my backend skills. I'm getting confident in DevOps and AI and stuff. Frontend, I'm also confident, but not as much. But I know that in React, okay, there is an implication on having to call on click here versus passing this on click handler via the parent. Okay, so like coming here and saying maybe on click, okay, on click equals to something. Okay, then we pass a function here. Okay, I've known that you can do something like this. Okay, so you guys were good at React. I'm waiting for your advice. What's the best practice? What's the best way to do it? I'll be waiting for that from you. If any of you can't, it's still okay. Later I'll be doing optimizations. I'll need to go to the React and Next.js documentation and revise what they're doing. So so select flight is now done. Okay. So we set the current flight, okay, in our state. After that, we need now to use the router. Okay. So I'll import router. I'll import something from just be next/navigation. Okay, so that's something I want to is the router. Okay, so I'll come here and I say const router. Okay, this is supposed to be think use router, right? We used it recently. Okay, I'm starting to forget. Was it in the booking form? Use router. Yes, this is what I wanted to do. It is use router actually. So I can now say the router will be equals to an instance of use router, like so. Okay. Now here, I can now come and navigate and say router dot push. Okay. Not booking, but a particular page. I'm going to show you that page. Okay. So if you see in my Next.js structure here, okay, I'll close backend and go to the front end. In my Next.js project here, I have, and again, don't worry, I'm going to push the code and you can take your time to revise and read it and maybe suggest, do PRs, by the way. You can do pull requests, okay, if you're interested. But the link to the GitHub is in the description. So I want to navigate. I think there's flights page.tx, but also there's what? The one with an ID. So this one is the one we want to go to. But maybe just to show you that things are working, I'll do this, okay? I'll say alert. Hi. Just make sure things are okay. Okay. Come here, select. Probably need to refresh this. Okay. Let's restart. Since this has been stale. I'll say I'm going from NYC to London. Departure date is tomorrow. This is going to be one way. It can be economy. Children, one child. Infants, one infant. Such flights. I'm starting to feel that instead of leaving it here hanging, someone should. There's an issue, okay? Someone, instead of that button being grayed out, I should just redirect to this page and show maybe a loading kind of stuff, okay? And like you see, the design is already what? Broken. I don't take into account certain things. I've just discovered there's a lot to do on the design. But I'll just have to change. I'll change the design as people use it. Let me put return Saturday, children, no infant. Okay. So instead of this hanging and saying searching, as soon as you click, I take you to the next page. That's when I now show the loading spinner or shim or whatever. Okay. So, but there's still an issue. Okay. I wonder what it is, but we shall investigate. So if I say select flight, okay, this now works. Okay. This is what I was just looking for. Sometimes when you're doing front end, I want to solve one problem at a time. Like right now, I just want to make sure that the event is being picked. Okay. And maybe if I inspect, I come into the console, you will see an issue. Say the issue says each child in a list should have a unique key prob. So there's a place where we don't have a unique key. Where is that? And first solve that. Is it here? Where we're rendering and we don't have a unique key. Is it on the flights? It cannot be in the state. Is it here? I think, yeah, this is it. Are you seeing here? We need the key. So I can say key would be equals to, I don't know what key we can give him. Say if I say comma index, I think we always used to have the index here. Can give it the index. I hope that solves it. And now you see we have also another issue that I wanted to show you. Our data is not persistent. Okay. We need to always persist so that even if you refresh the page, it's not lost. So I'll enter London, departure, that, return date, there. Okay. So I think that it was solved. So if I select, so we get that high. So now what I need to do is to now do the actual navigation. So to do the actual navigation, I can now remove this alert and I say router.push, okay, to slash. Do you know the slash? We're going to slash flights. Remember, Next.js follows the names of your folder to route for routing, okay? To slash flights, okay? Slash flights, like this, like that, okay? That would bring us here, but because we have an ID here, we need to put that ID, okay? Slash maybe some random ID, okay? Like that. But I need to find out the flight ID. So let me console.log that and come here, inspect. I want to see if the flight has how to access that flight ID, okay? So let me clear this, click. So you see the flight has an ID. Are you seeing this? So we can use this flight ID 1, okay? If I click on this other one, let me clear. If I click on this, you see we get flight with ID 2. If I go to another one, I select, you see we get flight with ID 3. So you get the point. So what I'm going to do is this, okay? Here, I'll say router.push, but this time, instead of quotes, okay? Because I want to pass a variable. I want to come and say flight.id, okay? But this wouldn't work. So it has to be a variable. So to put a variable in JavaScript or TypeScript, I have to use the backticks, okay? So I'll put a backtick here, then I'll remove here and put a backtick. Then before flight, I'll come and I put a dollar sign like this, then a bracket, curly bracket like that. Come here at the end, put also with the forward slash and put a curly bracket. So they're saying left hand side of arithmetic operation must be of type any. Oh, this has to be outside the curly bracket like that. Okay. So push to flights slash particular ID. Okay. So let us see how that works. There we are. It actually worked. Okay. If I say back to results, okay, we come back to the page. If I click on this other one, you see, we come here. If I go back, if I select maybe, looks like all of them have the same price. Okay, this one has a cheaper price. If I select it, you see, we come to the same page. Okay. So that's the first step. Okay. Now, what you're seeing here, of course, is demo. Okay, is mock. The right word to use is mock. Okay, it is not real data. Okay, these are things I can say I vibe coded this design long time ago. Okay, just to save time. Okay, but I learned the hard way that actually vibe coding comes with its sparks. That's why you see me, I'm taking time on the front end. So again, if you need the source code for the front end, I am going to push it to GitHub. Simply check the the link in the description. So now all this needs to also to change. Okay, so I'm going to show you that page. So this is okay. So on the flight card, we set the selected flight, and we push. As simple as that. So I'll remove this, maybe leave this, and then maybe go to this actual page. Okay, for representing the actual card. So again, if Next.js is confusing you, you can simply go to YouTube and look for a crash course, okay? On Next.js. In a day, you can pick it up. Because I know many of you are already good programmers, so you don't understand how programming concepts cut across the same thing. All right, so if I do this, so you see the flight pricing page, okay? This is this page, okay? This page. And some things like, if you see this, okay, this total here, I can show you how to change it, okay? Let me first minimize all these. Some of the things are going to be deleted, okay? Just like you see up here, we have here mock pricing data that has to go away. It's not important. But what we need to do right now, first of all, is to do price, the actual price validation. Sorry. And I want to prove to you that it's actually mock data. Actually, I've already done that because I've showed you what the mock data up here. This one. So what I want to do is this, okay? In this component, okay, we're going to, first of all, access our global store. To access that store, I'll say import use flights. And again, if you have a better name for the store, please let me know, okay? Use flights. Then inside here, okay, I'll come and I say const, okay? I need the selected flight. And actually, AI is being smart, okay? The selected flight, remember, is coming from our store. Selected flight will be equals to use flights, okay? Zustand is very easy. I don't know if any of you know what something called Redux. You can't have this success in Redux. You will cry. Trust me, you'll cry. You'll cry before you have this kind of simple state management. I think in the previous video yesterday, you saw me how I set up state management. I was tired. I was not so used to it, but I got my way around the documentation and I set it up very fast within less than 5 minutes. Try doing that using Redux when it's your first time. You show me and I'll give you some money. So yeah, we have our selected flight here. Okay. Now using this selected flight, we need to confirm its price. Okay. To confirm its price, I'm going to create a function. Okay. I'm going to say const confirm price. Okay. This will be a function. Am I forgetting how to create functions in JavaScript? And this will be an async function. Okay. So in this function, I want to do like what we did here. Okay. Things like, where's the, we had somewhere we had like base URL or something. Have I forgotten? Was it the, yeah, it was right here. Okay. The things I need to make global, not here. Was it in the hero section? I'm getting confused, but it's okay. We shall have to watch. We shall refactor later, but let me go ahead. So first thing we need is the URL. Okay. Say const URL is equals to the API URL. Okay. Which is this one here, which I showed you in Postman. Okay. This one which is working. So let's copy it. Okay. And paste there like that. But we're going to change it. Okay. So ideally, if I go to base, if I hover base URL, is the actual value. Okay. It is pointing to localhost. So I can come here, I remove this. So this is the URL, okay, confirming the price. Then I say const the result right now would be equals to await fetch, okay, fetch the URL, okay. Then we need to pass in some options, okay. And so the AI is giving us that the method is going to be post. I'll accept that, okay. The headers, content type JSON, I'll confirm that. Then the body, okay. For the body, let me see. What did we send? What did we send? We simply sent the flight offer, okay, directly. So I can come here and simply say JSON.stringify. AI is messing up my stuff. stringify. What are we going to stringify? This selected flight. This has to be called selected flight, like that. Copy it, paste here. Okay, so let me explain to you this so you understand it. Okay, and also it is something that needs to be closed like this. Okay, so let me explain. Okay, first of all, remember I told you we're integrating validation of a price. Okay, the front end and the back end. The back end is what I showed you here. Okay, I showed you the back end. This is the endpoint. Okay, if I execute it again, you're going to see it's going to work. Okay, our backend is okay. You remember I built this live while you saw. If you're watching this for the first time, please go back in the playlist and see. Okay, again, the link to the playlist is in the description. When we get back here, okay, we now executing the API endpoint. Okay, and we're using the fetch API in JavaScript. We pass the same URL with a number of options. What options are those? The first one is a method post. Okay. When I say method post, I'm simply replicating what I have in Postman. If you go to Postman, okay, you see the method is post. Okay. Then headers I'm putting content type application JSON. Postman actually puts it for us. If you come here and I show you what is hidden, okay. Okay, it is just saying all. It is not specifying, but it's a good thing to do. Okay. So even maybe I can remove it for now. Okay. I would expect it to still work. Just to keep it simple, not to confuse you. Then the body, okay, remember our API accepts JSON and returns JSON. So to send JSON, JavaScript has a function called JSON.stringify. Okay, this stringify function converts a normal JavaScript object to JSON. So if you want to convert a JavaScript object, in our case, this selected flight, to JSON, you do JSON.stringify. Okay, which is serializing. Okay, we are serializing our data because that's what our API endpoint expects. Okay, but we can improve the endpoint actually. Okay, let me indent like this to make it cleaner. Okay, so this is better. So now I need to close this function actually. I not closed it. What's AI doing? What's wrong? Okay, so now I can now come and say, I think it's suggestion, it's actually correct. Okay, you can say our data equals to await rest.json. Okay, then you can console.log the data. Okay, but I want to improve this endpoint here. If you go to our .env, okay, you see that we have this next public, the base API URL. So I can come here at the top and say const base underscore API URL. And again, even after I've shared this with the what they call them, with the client, and they're testing it out, we shall keep on improving everything. Okay, especially the code, make sure the code is maintainable. We need to get this from the virtual environment. Now I'm even forgetting, how do you pick something from the virtual environment? I think it's process, I'm not remembering, .env dot that. Yeah, thank God. Crazy, I'd forgotten it. So now when we have this base API URL, I can come here and use backticks. Okay, instead of double quotes, I put a backtick at the beginning. Come here, remove this, put a backtick at the end. Then instead of localhost, I remove all this. Okay, put a $sign, 2 curly brackets like that, then paste the base API URL. This here, a little bit clear. So I mean cleaner, so that in future, okay, if this one you can change now to our address on AWS. Remember, our backend is running on AWS. Don't forget that. So to make it flexible, okay. All right. So now that we have that, we can now call it, okay, using a hook called use effect. So use effect, use use effect, hit enter. Okay. Come on, AI. What's up with AI, guys? So sometimes I feel like this sometimes it's nice, sometimes I feel like just disabling it. Okay, so use effect will take a function, okay, and an array of dependencies. Okay, so I think I hope that it has been imported. Yeah, it's up here. It has been imported. So use effect hook. So again, if you don't know what React is, you know what Next.js is, do not fear to stop this series now and go and focus on learning React and Next.js. Then you can come. You can just brush through it in a crash course for about 2 or 3 days, and you come back and you continue this series. So now I'll say in this use effect by default, I'll say that if there's a selected flight, okay, what I want to do is, if there's a selected flight, I want to call this function called confirm price. Okay, but by default they should be selected flight. Selected flight. So let me call confirm price immediately. So let me inspect. Expression expected. Looks like I've also forgotten how to use the use effect hook. Who can help me? Who can help a brother? Help your brother. Help your brother. Sometimes I think it's just hard to be very good at everything. Okay, you can know how things work, but being so good at all can be quite challenging. So I think it use effect. I think I did it the right way. I'm not seeing what I've done wrong. Who can show me? Who can tell me? So this is let's do it. Okay. So it's a use effect. Okay, that's the first step. Let me go the example. Where is it? Okay, so you use effect, the setup function and dependencies. Okay. So there's going to be setup function and dependencies separated by a comma. So the dependency array is this. Then here I need what? The setup function, which will be like so. Okay, so I think this should now be okay. I say confirm price. So I'm simply calling this function that we defined. If I go back to the terminal, if I refresh this page, look at this. Look at this, guys. We get an error, unprocessable entity. The question is, I think that is because this selected flight probably does not exist. Okay, because trust me, if I say console.log selected flight, okay, it should be null. Okay, so you see, it's null. There we go. So you understand why we need to persist that state. Okay, so if we go back here, you see even here is empty. So for it to work, you always have to go back to the beginning, which is a very bad practice. Okay, we shall need to have find of persisting our state. So I'll simply quickly check from New York to NYC, this date to this date, search. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, I'll pick the cheapest, select flight, and there we are. I need to inspect. Go to console. Says so I responded with the okay, it's selected flight, okay, is okay. But the issue is we are sending, I think this thing input should be a valid dictionary or object, which means we're doing something wrong. Probably I shouldn't even serialize it. I shouldn't say JSON to serialize. Where is it? This, I mean, JSON to stringify. If I copy this, okay, and I paste it here, let us see what comes out. Not actually there. And remove this whole line, have it there, and have this inside here just to see selected flight when it is stringified, and then the selected flight when it's not stringified. Console.log console.log there's just a flight. Some things to understand them, you usually have to do it, okay, and see the actual value so we understand properly. But the issue is if I refresh, we're going to lose the, you see, we have lost the state. Wow, I need to solve this issue. This state has to be persisted, by the way, otherwise we're going to suffer, okay? I do not always come here to make sure that we're getting the states. This will not be really good. It will be stressful, trust me. So we have this that flight. Selected flight. Let us inspect console. Okay, so you see here I have, I see how it is when it's stringified, how it looks like. Then without being stringified, this is how it looks like. So what I'm going to do is this. I can remove this and send it as a JavaScript object. Hoping that, did I read somewhere that fetch serializes it for us? Let's find out. But we have to go again the painful way. Oh my God. Crazy, okay? This is crazy. NYC, London. I need to really find out how to persist state. Okay, I'll select the first one, which is ideally always the cheapest. So select flight, okay? And you see we get the same issue, okay? Unprocessable entity. If you look at the backend logs, we come here to the backend. But if we go to Postman, I want to see how do we send it in Postman, okay? Come on, where is this guy? I see a Postman. It is very similar, okay? So how come this time there are things which are missing? Let me see what is missing here. Validating airline codes. Do we have it in Postman here? That would be the difference, okay? You first delete all these other, minimize this, minimize this, minimize this. Yeah, the structure is actually the same. I think we have pricing options, validating airline codes, traveler pricing. If I come back here, validating airline codes. Oh, we have traveler pricings. Yes, we have traveler pricings. Same thing, just different otherwise the same. So if you cannot process, if the entity is not processable, what is the challenge? Let me go to the network tab. So I see the error message, okay? They're saying message input should be a valid dictionary or object or extra fields. So what we are sending is not a dictionary. So input, we sent an object. Preview is the preview. No, I want to look at the payload. Oh guys, look at our payload. I think the issue. That's why sometimes it's good to come to this tab. Okay. We are sending an object. It's supposed to be. Why are we sending an object? It's not supposed to be an object. Who can guess what we should do? I think what we have in Postman. Okay. It has to be like this. This structure of a dictionary. This a JSON string. But since it's using something like object, which is wrong. This is what we are sending. This is wrong. So who can guess? But if you're enjoying this series, share it in your community. Okay. Share it with your network. This is something I plan to do for a very, very, very long time. Okay. When I finish building this project, the things I need to get into like AI integrations. I need to provide to create like end-to-end free resources, okay, of learning anything like backend, front end, DevOps, end-to-end. So let me minimize this. Okay, come on, I can't minimize this. Am I forgetting to use a computer? But to avoid going back and forth, I want to show you something. Okay, I want to copy this flight. Follow me closely. Okay, I want to copy this data. Okay, then there's no need for this. I think let's comment it out. Okay, then look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to say const. I want to test out something. Const data is equals to that. Okay, this is the data. Let me. Wow, it's too huge. Too huge. Too huge. Put this on the next line. Cannot redeclare a scope called. Okay, let me call it body. Okay, that's the body. Okay, follow me closely. You're going to understand in a minute why I'm doing this. I want to prove something. Then here the body, we simply pass this body here. Okay, I want to see what happens. So you pass the body like that. Okay, but even there's no need for that since they're the same name. Overload. Okay, let me just do like this. Okay, just under stringify this. Then I come here, refresh the page. Refresh the page one more time. Okay, you see, we still get, I think the request payload. I can say this is better. It's not like what we had last time. Okay. But now, you see the response. Input type should be a valid dictionary. Okay. So what I need to do, I don't think I think there was no need for us to serialize it the second time. It was already serialized. So what I can do, I can just call this request underscore body to avoid the name crash. Okay. Like that, request body. But why is it refusing this? Say overload matches this call. Overload of request init. Why is it? What's the issue? AI will mislead me. Should I just pass it directly? Overload of 1 out of 2. Oh my god. What is this? Promise gave the following order. A body init object or null to set the request body. So what is wrong with it is my question. I think you got an object, which is still the same issue. Isn't this supposed to be simple? Okay. Isn't this supposed to be simple, guys? Crazy. Let me check. What's the time? It's 10 p.m. here. I don't know what the time is on your end. This is supposed to be like effortless. Okay. Supposed to be really effortless. I don't understand when they say double entity, blah, blah, blah. It's supposed to be like really, really effortless. Let me see. Overload, blah, 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 blah. ID does not exist in type readable stream. I was trying like to force it since you're refusing my stuff. Get everything. Get everything. Anyway, let me get serious, okay? Let me get serious. So I'll undo this. You just need to investigate, okay? In JavaScript, how do you discover the type of something? Okay. Because what I want to pass is a flag. Let me do this, okay? Is it type of? Can I see in Python? I think this type. I think it's a function called type. Type of. Yeah, I've remembered it. It's type of. So let's see. What's the type of this thing? Is this the type? No. Let me do this. Say type, just to be sure of what I'm getting. So yeah, it's an object. Okay. But now in Python, you can find out that this is maybe a dictionary, this is a tuple, this is a set. I'm trying to remember how you do it. Like in in Python, you can use that instance of. I don't know whether this. I think this is now null. Yeah, which is okay. Which is okay. That makes sense. Okay. It is null, and of course, we would have to get that unprocessable entity error. But I wanted to avoid doing that so that we have something solid. Like avoiding having to come back here and you're saying that we want NYC to London one way. Search. Okay, need a departure today. Search. To avoid this, okay? And pick the cheapest one. So you see, we have, I think the structure is the same, okay? Structure is the same. ID, itinerary. Oh. But I get it. How would you represent? Look at our postman, okay? I think I've seen the issue, okay? Look at postman. I think postman, we have type in quotes, flight offer in quotes, ID in quotes, and then in quotes. I think, but now here ID is not in quotes, okay? Instant ticket required is not in quotes. Is upsell is not in quotes. Like for valid JSON, each of them has to be wrapped in quotes for it to be valid. That's the point I'm trying to make, okay? All these are in quotes. So the question we should be asking, how do we stringify it? Okay, all this needs to be stringified the correct way. You understand? So let's try to do it. I think I was right. JSON dot stringify. But by the next video, I need to have sorted out this whole issue, okay, of having state which is not persisted. Loan, not loan, but NYC to London. This should be faster since it's already in the what? In our catch in the backend. Pick the same date, save, pick the same flight. I forgot to clear this. Parsing Emma script. What is this again? Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted. So you see, this time, no. I printed the wrong thing. I think my mind is now getting tired. What I meant to print, okay, is this. I want to see the JSON, the stringify JSON, okay? One way, NYC to L or N. I need to persist state to avoid doing this. I think that's the next thing we should do tomorrow. Why is it taking longer? It's supposed to be fast because it's already in the state. I mean, in the catch, clear console. So you see, if I show you this, I see now all of them are now enclosed in what? In quotes. Okay. But then if you look at this, we still get that unprocessable entity. It says input type should be a valid dictionary or extract fields from input. Okay, I'm tired. Let's do this. Need time to rest, okay? So yeah, sometimes things fail and I can't keep my head on this forever. So this is what I'm going to do, okay? To save time, okay? I'll make sure that the data that when we click on a flight, okay? So like, let me show you. Let me show you. This is not required. Of course, this other code will stay, okay? Excuse me. When this is successful, okay, and get the data, that confirmed price, the confirmed flight should be changed here, okay? When that confirmed price, when this is successful, okay, the flight we get from here should update the current selected flight, okay, because the pricing must be different. But in addition to that, okay, we have to update the GSX, okay, here, okay, to use real data, okay, because at the moment it's using the mock. I think this mock pricing data. This is what is being used. So offline, I'll remove this mock data, and in the next video I'll also explain to you that. And then I will also maybe probably keep these functions and maybe make changes to this, okay? Yeah, I'll explain to you. We can't keep on this. What I know is that, let me tell you, by the way, that issue is actually a small issue. What is happening to me is simply forgetting JavaScript. How to properly send that request, okay? Because something is missing. Because when the backend says, okay, let me give you what I have understood. Once the backend actually has no problem. Once the backend gives you this error, okay, saying unprocessable entity, it simply means that the data we are sending, okay, let me show you here. Where's the backend? Backend. routers, flights. I want confirm price, okay? And then the data we are sending is not conforming to this format. It's not conforming to this format, okay? Of the flight offer. It must match this. Once it doesn't match, okay, we get an error. Secondly, if the data, okay, is not in the correct, maybe like JSON format, it will not be able for the backend to process it. So we shall always get that unprocessable entity format error, okay? It has to meet those constraints, okay? So the issue is not about when Next.js or FastAPI, the backend has no problem. The backend is giving us the correct error. The issue here is me, the developer. I am failing to send the correct type here, okay? And that is something I need to find out, okay? So I am going to rest. I see this stream has been on for 70 minutes and I'm tired, trust me. I'm tired of the long day. So probably tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow after I've rested, when I wake up and I have a fresh mind, I'll study this data, this type, okay? The actual data it has carefully, and then, yeah, we will, later in the stream, I'll show you how I approached it, how I fixed it, and then, yeah, we move on, okay? And of course, if you have a solution, tell me in the comment, okay? So thank you for learning along with me and bearing with me as I crash open in public, okay? Let's meet up in the next stream, okay? Where I'll show you what I did to resolve the issue, and then we move on to something else. But of course, in the morning, I am going to have this session on Kubernetes. So see you there. Bye for now.